Hi, I'm Ronnie from Ronnie's Garage, and today we're having our monthly tech meet, and we'll be working on slow windows on a Bentley T2. All right, real common problem on these cars, Shadows, Spirits and Spurs have very similar problems with the windows, is they're real slow, or they don't work, or they work intermittently. We'll get into diagnosis. This one supposedly doesn't work from this door. So it has a switch here. We'll see. We'll just confirm it. Let's see. Nothing from here. And from this switch, it goes down, and it's kind of slow. It's not too bad. I've seen worse.
Oh yeah, that's not bad.
There's slowing down there, saying, ah.
Mine, it takes 2 days to get up to the top.
We can fix that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this door panel off, and I'm going to show a real quick way to diagnose if the problem is in these micro switches for it not working here, or if it's in the master switch. See, it's on the master switch, the one with the 4 window switches on the driver's side, whatever side the car is, depending on the steering wheel position. The wiring all goes through the master switch to start with. Okay, so this circuit is fed through that master switch, even though it's not being used. So there's a real easy way to do it. I'll show you how you take the door panel off. This is a front door, obviously. This is a little armrest. It's got this locking thing. You can see it's got this slot that goes in with these grooves. What happens is when you flip this down, this edge right here will lock into a groove. So, like there. So it's locked in a position, and it's adjustable. You can put it in different positions, but to pull it off, you flip this lever up, drive it up, and if you look closely, you can see that this car has been dyed because this metal is blue. So that's a good way, because the really dye guys will take stuff apart or tape it so that you can't tell. But it's not a bad thing, because these are surface dyed leathers anyways on these cars, the original Connolly. Oh, sorry, a little bit slow. Now, this is an interesting thing. You never know who's been working on the car before, because normally this has 2 slotted screws holding this attachment here, and this has got a Torx screw here. Let's see if I can get it off with the wrong tool. Yeah, looks like I will.
You mentioned that surface dye. Do they do any barrel dyeing now?
Well, Connolly at this vintage, they did not do that. It's all surface dyed. So you can take a brand new piece of hide or brand new leather, and on one side it's colored on, the other side is natural. And you can get, Connolly is still in business. You can get the original hides for these. It's a Valmal, I think. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's a type of leather, and it looks just like that. I just bought a bunch of hides for a car, and they were surface dyed. Vat dyed is better because it won't show scratches as easy, it won't wear off as easy, but that's just not what they used. It's thicker, it's a heavier leather, and if you don't know what a Torx screw looks like, you can pass that around. That's what a Torx screw looks like. That's most modern cars have a lot of fasteners like that. Now, one thing on these door panels is they have these little aluminum spacers in here, and that's so that this doesn't crush the padding, and it doesn't go in so far that you can't get that armrest on. It's got to be stand out a bit ways. The next thing is these escutcheons have to come off, and they have little push-on bezels. As you can see, this has 2 little pins on it. It pushes into little holes with plastic ferrules, and they hold it. And once I get this off, as always on an older car like this that's been apart a million times, there are fasteners missing. This should have 2 screws in it, and I only had 1. And if you want to pass that around, you see that's what this pushes into. You guys can look at that. The door lock one is a little bit different. Oh, it's missing a screw too. So I usually use a small screwdriver and kind of prise it out gently. You see the whole bezel's moving on this thing. This one's not tight, thank you. And they should be little cheese head slotted screws on these most of the time. Everybody know what a cheese head screw is? It can. If you look at the head of it, it looks like a wheel of cheese. Okay? Depends on your flavor preference. Alright. There's one more bezel, screws.
This is the second pesky we've had in a row. Pesky
Door lock?
door locks and pesky windows.
Yeah.
Both shadows.
You can thank Paul for that because he came up with both ideas. Now, on the later shadows, mostly the 2s, I think. I don't think any. Normally, you just pull this panel off, and there's a bunch of push-in clips. But on the shadow 2s, and I think maybe some of the later 3s, they've got another panel down here you got to undo, and it'll be self-explanatory once I get it off. If I can get it off.
So Ronnie, how do you tell if the sluggish window is electrical or just like the door tracks
Well,
mechanical locking?
that's a great point because it's generally a combination of the two. Just like our bodies, if we don't use certain muscles, they will atrophy and not want to work the next time we need to use them. So that's why exercise is important. Same with windows. A lot of the late cars from 96 on, I think 96, 97, they have these really delicate little, I'm going to pull this off real quick. And the reason you have to take this little panel right here, screws in under here, and this is designed to hold the door panel tight. Because people, as you can see, this has got some water damage on it, but there were clips under here before and they just didn't hold it. So if you try to pull this off, what you do is you break this plywood right here, the slot it's supposed to go into.
Now, would
But
this have originally had plastic on it, like the car the other day, or no?
yeah, normally it should have a weather shield here. It's usually a black plastic. But back to those later windows, what they've got, instead of this stout gearbox here with a chain and a big solid channels to run this thing up and down, they have little pulleys and cables and plastic ferrules, and they break. And the last one I did was to fix one window was $2,500 because you had to buy the regulator. It's broken. And usually the reason they fail is because they don't get used and the windows get stuck in the rubber here. So they keep working it until it finally breaks loose and it just snaps things.
Ronnie, is there anything they can do on that rubber channel to open it up a little bit, loosen it up?
Well, yeah, that would be maintenance. But the best maintenance is just using them. A lot of these cars, the windows never go down.
Ronnie, what is the maintenance on that gasket? Is there something we could do at home or?
You can spray silicone in there,
Okay.
but make sure you don't get it all over everything. Usually one with a nozzle, I run it, around there, but the thing is just to use them. Just to use them. So, the quick way, let's see, can you reach in and turn the ignition on for me? Don't start the car, just turn it on. One position to the right, there you go. There you go. So if you want to see if it's a switch here, first let's get the wire. Oops, there we go. There we go. All you got to do, because the way these switches work is they supply either voltage or ground to one of the two wires. It's a 2-wire motor, so all you got to do is change the polarity and it reverses direction. It means it has a magnet in here that's permanent and is not energized. So the way I check them real quick is I just swapped, watch out, swap the wires. So this has a clutch here. So if we take this, say this red wire here, and swap it to the green wire, and versa versa, on the spirits and spurs it's real easy to do. They don't have a break, or so, and it still doesn't work. So what that does is it isolates whether it's one circuit on a micro switch or the other. So chances are the problem is in the master switch over there.